Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy and today we're going to be talking about how to give your kids an assignment when there is no grades built into your homeschool curriculum and how you can actually turn those assignments into grades. And I'm going to show you the 5 ways that I take an assignment and I give it a grade. So I have my own little grading scale and my own little tricks. And I'm going to show you guys how I do that. If it's your very first time here, welcome. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. And I also have in the description my my actual Instagram, and you guys can follow me over there, and I have all kinds of daily updates and you guys can see what we do in the classroom. Okay, so there's a lot of curriculum out there that does not actually have a grading scale built into it, or they don't have a lot of assignments that are for a grade. Now, if you use a cover school or an umbrella school like I do, then sometimes you have to submit a grade. So what do you do when you have a subject that doesn't have like an actual test for you to grade, to give them a grade for those submissions that you need to make? I find this a lot with a lot of the Charlotte Mason inspired type of curriculums, and it always kind of leaves homeschool parents wondering, what do? I need a grade for this. So I'm going to show you how I take some of those assignments and grade those, or I can actually make up an assignment and give those to my kids and then use the same 5 things to give them a grade. So first, let's talk about the things that you can do to actually create an assignment. You can do something really simple like having your kids make a diorama. If it's science, super easy and super fun for the creative kids. Or you could even look through the chapter, find 10 to 20 questions, make them 10 to 5 points each, depending on how many questions there are, just divided by 100, just super easy. And then you're going to give that to the kids and they answer the questions. Super, super easy, super simple. It just requires a little bit of pre-reading and a little bit of research on your part. You can also have the creative kids make a comic. You could have them write a paragraph for the younger kids, or for the older kids, they can write a book report. They can do a biography. They can do a report that has illustrations inside and a cover page. I did that a lot in high school, and I remember doing many of those assignments and doing a lot of the illustrations that go with it. Just remember, think back to the things that you did at that age and tailor it to your personal curriculum. There's a lot of things that you can do to help your kids create really cool assignments that they're not going to totally hate, and they're going to make a good grade on it just because they're interested in it. So those are some of the things that I do to create an assignment. And the other easy way that you can actually have an assignment to grade is just take the assignments that are already built into the curriculum and grade those. Now, if it's something as simple as they have a study guide, 25 question type of assignment to do, this is super simple. You're just going to grade it. So just figure out how many points each question is going to be, which is totally up to you on that. And then grade the assignment depending on how many they got right. Super simple. Or you can have them, of course, take another assignment like, a character sketch and just give that a grade. And I'm going to show you the 5 ways that I do this. So let's go over the 5 things that I really look at when I'm giving my kids a grade. Now with this, it's going to be tailored to the age, level, and grade of your child. So make sure that you really take your time with this. Don't rush through it. Try to figure out the best way to make sure that your kids understood the assignment and did their best. So the first thing that I look at is, did they follow the directions? Anytime I give my kids an assignment that is going to be graded or that's going to count toward their grade, I let them know up front clearly and they know the directions. So I will tell them, I'm going to be looking at these 3 things for your grade. So you need to make sure you have 1, 2, and 3, and then I will tell them what those are. So did they follow those directions? For younger kids, this might be as simple as making sure that their paper has a title and their name and their date on it. And for the older kids, this might be something as complicated as, Do you have 1.5-inch margins? And, for, the typing type of rubrics, which I had a lot in college. So when we get to the high school level, we're going to really be focusing more on that and how to set up papers for college. Anybody else remember the MLA format? I really do. So I wrote a lot of those papers. So we're going to really be looking at that more for college prep. So number 2 is grammar. I want to make sure that whatever they're learning in their language arts as far as grammar, they are translating that into other subjects. And that's a really good way for me to gauge whether or not their language arts curriculum is working for them, because I'm seeing those other skills being done in science and in history and in music and in notebooking. And when you start seeing it in other places, that's when you know, okay, they really understand this and I'm seeing this play out really well. So I'm going to make sure that they have really good grammar inside of all of their assignments. So that's something that I always look at, because again, that's another good college prep skill. Number 3 is sentence structure. We've been working on sentence structure since like 1st grade because we've been Abeka users for language arts. And Abeka is huge on sentence structure and grammar and punctuation and writing. And I want to make sure that they're learning those skills and that, again, that they're using them in other subjects. So when my 3rd grader is writing, I want to make sure that he has a subject and a verb. And I want to make sure that he's trying to use compound sentences and that there's no run-ons or fragments. And of course, the same things for older kids, but older kids are going to be having more complicated sentences, obviously. So you're going to be looking at, double subjects and double verbs and, really complex sentences versus, just making sure that there's no fragments or run-ons for the younger kids. Another thing I'm going to be looking at is punctuation. Does every sentence have a capital letter? Does every sentence end with the right punctuation? Do they have commas and apostrophes, and are the I's dotted and the T's crossed? Those are all really important things, and I want to make sure that they get those and they didn't rush through it and forget. And number 5 is how well the paper reads. And this was a skill that I learned in college really early on as a freshman. And one of those things was in the education world, and when I started learning not just how to write papers, but I had to do a lot of reports as an education major, as an elementary ed major. I did a lot of reports, you guys, a lot. So I would have to read a lot of kid literature, we call it kid lit, and we would have to write reports on these. And I knew that my professor probably hadn't read the book that I read. So one of the things that I really focused on and that I always got a high grade for was I made sure that the paper that I wrote on that specific book, that the professor knew the entire book by my paper. That means I gave them the beginning, the middle, and the end of the book and any major events that happened. So they felt like they did not have to even read the book that I gave them because I gave them enough information. And that's one of those things that I'm teaching my almost 9th grader now is how to give me a book report to where I don't even have to read the book. If I have to ask a question, then there's a plot hole. So teach them about plot holes and teach them how to really go from beginning, middle, and end in a book report. It will serve them very well if they're going to go on to college. And trust me, you're going to have to write a lot when you're in college. So, and that has not changed for most majors. So making sure that they know how to write a good book report is a very good skill to learn when they're still at home and they can practice. So a lot of the grades that we have is actual book reports, and I give my child extra book reports to do for history and science because not only are they learning about that subject more in depth, but they are they're giving themselves a grade, and they're giving me a grade for my grade book for when I have to turn in grades twice a year. So it's a win all the way around. So that's another thing that I do. Those are the 5 ways that I really look at grading. But always be really upfront and honest with your kids in the beginning so they know what they need to do as far as grading. So that way there's no surprises when you give them their grade, and they will actually work harder at those things. So another just little bonus tip: illustrations, comics, dioramas are really great ways for you to get creative kids involved, and other ways that you can grade different types of maybe things that are a little bit harder to do or harder to grade. Creative kids love these. I have 2 very big creative boys here, so those are things that work really, really well for us as far as grading. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas, get your creative juices flowing, and get your kids involved with more complex type of assignments to grade. If you guys have any questions, leave them below. If you guys have a good way of grading something that does not have a good grading scale on it, or like a curriculum like ours that doesn't have a lot of grades built into it, tell me what you do as far as grading. How do you test your kids or give them a grade? I would love to hear some new ideas, because we can always have more ideas, right? I will see you guys in the next video. Happy homeschooling.